Hello everybody, this is Kev off of LandroeGaming coming at you with another PvP video, talkcast, a little bit of chatting about various bits and bobs that have happened in games since patch 5.2, which I've had a bit of time to play lately. Carried on leveling my Druid. As you can see, I'm now 88, and this is my first PvP since patch 5.2 in this bracket, so it's interesting to see what's going on. This was quite a fun BG. But I won't talk entirely about this. There's lots of things happening in the world at the moment. New Pope today just got unveiled. I love the drama of the whole conclave type thing. I mean, I first read about it in one of Dan Brown books. I think it was Angels and Demons, possibly, talking about how the whole process happens. It was interesting to sort of see it pan out with the black smoke rising to say they were undecided and all that kind of stuff. It's very sort of dramatic. But religion in general, you know, people do a lot of good in the name of religion. I certainly don't want to turn this video into a preach about religion. I'm personally not religious. I'm what I call a humanist. I prefer to think about the human elements of all sorts of things, making sure that whatever I do tries to benefit my fellow humans, or if I see one in need, I'll come to their aid if I at all can. And I suppose that's the good elements of religion. It moralises people to do good for their fellow man. But as I said, not going to grumble on too much about religion. In sporting news, Man United went out of the Champions League due to a dubious ref decision. Huge Man United fan, by the way, but don't let that don't hold that against me, I should say. It's passed on via a family sort of allegiance to the Red Devils. But I've enjoyed watching the other games that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Barcelona absolutely trounced AC Milan. Fantastic performance. Lionel Messi, what can you say? Watched Arsenal tonight do pretty much the same to Bayern Munich. Didn't quite go all the way, didn't quite get that third goal, but it's still good to watch. And I'm looking forward now to the quarter-final draw. As a Man United fan, one of the things that you kind of like, you're never happy your team goes out, of course, but from the perspective of a football fan, it's good to be able to enjoy the rest of the tournament without the stress of wondering what your team's going to do. So, you know, in the sporting side of things, it's quite been quite an eventful few weeks. I've got a couple of story ideas that I'm mulling over now, so that will come. I'll start trickle feeding them onto the blog, the Healthy Gaming Community blog spot. So if you head on over to the links are in my channel description. But you head on over to there, you can see some of the writing that I've been doing. I like to do that in periods of downtime between my gaming, so I'll do a bit of gaming, do a bit of writing, etc. And that's as I said, the little story ideas I've got coming up will be trickle fed onto my blog, so have a check in the coming days of the blog, and hopefully some of the stories will be online. And basically, yeah, that's kind of like a skim over the latest news, personal and world related. So back to the game footage here. As I said, it was my first experience in this bracket. I'm a fool when it comes to these sort of situations that are developing before our eyes here, where I kind of like think there's opportunity to be a hero and maybe get a ninja cap or something, but of course, studying my opposition here, I'm a little bit reluctant to get involved unless I get a bit of backup. I'm still developing my playstyle for Druid. I probably Cyclone maybe a little bit too much. I need to maybe get some sort of macros going on where I announce maybe who I'm cycloning, or certainly I need some macros, and I need some add-ons to develop sheep situations, what's being cast upon me, because there's a couple of instances later on in this BG where I get caught sheeped, which is obviously a big no-no for a druid, but we comprehensively, I mean, this BG in general, we are up against a better team. Admittedly, when I look back at the very end of the BG, we've either got a few bots or people that are just standing around doing nothing. Hopefully it was the first, because I can't stand people who just give up in BGs, especially low level. I mean, some people come into them just to level as fast as they can. It's fair enough. Some people come in to practice their PvP skills, which is the reason I'm here. I obviously don't get much experience gained from Battle for Gilneas as from an XP perspective, so it is more a practicing of my class perspective. But yeah, and getting used to what classes, how a class will approach you when they come across you. I mean, there's lots of silences and stuns and whatnot in the game. Some of them I can work a bit harder to avoid. I can use my cooldowns a lot better I can certainly learn to play my class way better. As I said, and I've said in many of my videos, I'm certainly not a pro. I'm far from it, but I like to look back and analyse where I've gone wrong and how I can improve. And such things as getting stuck in a full polymorph whilst my teammate dies isn't probably the best way of playing a druid. So as I said, it's still getting used to it, but I'm enjoying the playstyle of the druid in general. I'm certainly enjoying them in a PvE perspective. There's so many cooldowns you've got, so much utility you've got to help out in 5-mans. I haven't obviously done any raiding yet. I've done a few of the old school raids with the guild, but when everybody in there is massively overgearing it, you don't really get a true representation of just how you're going to be playing your class once you're in those kind of raid environments. So it's literally been 5-mans. I've leveled as Boomy, and I understand entirely where they get their name from. It's literally dot things up, pop a few cooldowns, and everything just blows the hell up. It's hilarious to watch. And I've quite enjoyed, one of the aspects of my enjoyment from the game is rare hunting, I suppose you could call it, and there's lots of rares in Mr. Pandaria where as you're leveling, they are a bit of a challenge they represent a bit of a challenge to face, so that's been quite good fun finding them, and you get quite good XP off them. Lots of gear, you get saleable items, you get some little perks, some vanity items. It's all been well and good, and I'm pushing towards I think I'm pushing towards 88 now. Hopefully I'll get that level tonight, and then it's the last 2 before I hit the real sort of big league where we're 90 and we're up against people fully geared and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Generally I think there's a lot of potential for me to become quite skilled at a druid. There's a lot of different play styles I've seen. I mean, there's a druid in this dungeon that I'm up against, and he's literally focusing entirely on healing. That's literally all he does. I don't see him throw out any CCs or any additional damage, that sort of thing. So I suppose that's one way of playing. I try to assist in crowd control and putting other people off of their game as much as possible, especially with casters, warlocks and mages. I played a warlock as an ult through Wrath of the Lich King, and was Affliction, and literally if you're left to your own devices, you can cause absolute chaos. And I suppose that's similar with a lot of different, especially range classes. They like to be left alone, and if you can distract them, even if you make them focus on you rather than an opponent, it can be a good thing. From a healing perspective, I suppose you're wanting to stay hidden as much as possible, but you do have utilities at your disposal. For example, this situation arises here where you can get a bash off, and obviously you're making him use his ice block, and then he's into a full cyclone. This player from the Horde was very, very good, and he's the main damage dealer for the Horde team here. So if you can keep him tied up whilst your allies go and take out the healers and maybe one of the other weaker DPSs, then you're doing your team a service there. And it obviously, as Arcane, I'm assuming he's Arcane because I've just had an Arcane missiles thingy at me. They can do if they're left to just free cast, they can just cause absolute chaos, do huge amounts of damage. I got a couple of 50k hits on me somewhere in this BG, and I just think, wow, you're dead within 2 or 3 seconds. One of the things I haven't glyphed blooming at the moment, and that's something I will obviously do when I have my PvP specific spec. I'm using this spec to level through dungeons, so obviously blooming isn't ideal in that situation because you want healing touched regrowth and things to refresh your life bloom, whereas in PvP the bloom effect of life bloom is going to be absolutely massive. And there's, even in this short video, there's lots of times where I'm CC'd or somebody else is CC'd and the life bloom ticks off of them and does the bloom heal, keeps them up long enough for you to get some heals back on them. So that could, obviously I'll be glyphing into that when I do get my PvP specific specs sorted, but I've utilised a spec here that can do some PvPing and still be relatively effective, and at the same time still do dungeons and again be relatively effective. I found that I'm starting to use my keybinds more rather than clicking my button timers UI. I tend to have the button timers set up next to my heal bot mainly to give me additional knowledge of when my cooldowns are available. That's the prime use of it. But I've noticed in intense fighting situations I'll start clicking that just because it's so close to my heal bot. Now what I ideally should be doing is using my left hand on my keybinds so that I'm not actually clicking the button timer UI. It's not a huge problem because I've noticed and I've analysed it in great depth. What I'm doing is the mouse will be moving during a global cooldown. So the heal will be cast on my healing UI and then I'll click to the cooldown. It becomes a problem for spells that aren't on a global cooldown, obviously. So that's obviously why you want to maximise your keybind usage. I've simplified my my UI as I explained in my previous video with the new graphics card and new monitor that I've got at my disposal. The new monitor is epic. You can see so much more of the screen, which is massive difference to gameplay. But at the same time, being sat so close to a huge screen can be take quite a bit of getting used to. I had a small screen previously, so that's some little chat there, a ChatCast as I like to call these things, or a talkcast, or whatever the pseudonym that I want to give these little videos. It's basically gameplay footage with me talking at the top, and I want to mix in talking about the game, talking about some real life stuff, talking about world events. Give the gaming channel a little something different. Along this line, I've been approached by a few people lately who have come across the channel, and it gives me good motivation, so please comment, like, inbox me, all those things, because I'm getting some great feedback, not just positive stuff, not people saying thank you for doing this or giving me encouragement, people saying that something isn't working, they don't think it's the right angle to take the channel. So it's good to get feedback from both perspectives. Don't be afraid to come on and give me some constructive criticism. I think that's fantastic. It's just as important as the people who come on and say you're doing a good job, which acts as a massive motivator. But a couple of people that have come forward lately and asked me to become partners with or affiliates with other channels. There's the Smokers Lounge, find a link in my video description, who have come forward, and I quite like the channels. Checking out the channel today, I'm watching some of the videos, and not only do I like what they're doing with their channel, which is acting as a conduit to promote fellow YouTube channels basically, but they are actually quite entertaining videos they put on themselves. So kudos to those guys over at the Smokers Lounge. Check them out, and comment and like on their videos, and check out the channels that they're looking to feature, because they're giving great motivation to fellow YouTube channel authors. So good luck to them, guys. And there was a few other videos and a few other channels that I've come across that have found my channel and commented, and you get that kind of cross promotional thing, and there's been some great feedback, and there's been some great videos and channels that I've found. There's some really good channels away from the mainstream. Don't get me wrong, the mainstreams are brilliant. I'm a huge Swifty fan. Obviously you can probably see his influence in these videos. I love Elemental QT and I love Bahira and all those kind of guys. They do great stuff. They really bring something little different to each element that they showcase. But at the same time, somebody who comes across with something different, and some of the videos that I've found on smaller channels have been absolutely staggering. I mean, the work that must have gone into them is fantastic. I mean, anybody who does any form of YouTubing will know just how much effort you put into sorting out your videos in a video editing program, and frapsing them in the first place, and editing them together, and doing things like this audio commentary over the top, and then uploading, which most of us will be working off one internet connection in the UK with horrendous upload speeds. So from that perspective, we all put a lot of effort into what we do, and some of the results have been absolutely outstanding. So kudos to all the guys across all the channels that I've been checking out throughout YouTube. I'll start showcasing them a little bit at Smokers Lounge. I'll give sort of cross promotion to guys who I feel have done good stuff as well, and hopefully it'll act as a motivator to them, because I know how much I get motivated when people watch my videos. And you look at your analytics and you see your views of where people are viewing from, the demographics, and you hope you're getting across to the people that you're wanting to get across to. And here at LandroeGaming and the Healthy Gaming community, we're liking to promote lots of different elements to gaming. And it's good to get the feedback, it's good to gauge how you're performing. So yeah, thanks to everybody who's watching the channel and has commented, viewed and liked and subscribed. Really gives me a great motivation to keep this going. I've got another couple of videos coming up later in the week. As I said, the big tutorial about how I play, or real life gameplay footage, will be quite interesting, hopefully, as a video. I've got another cooking video, another walking video, and I've got some of the other things I like from outside of gaming. So thanks very much for watching. Landro out.